a poll, a snap poll that has been done on the Cockroach Janata Party. But let me begin by saying that in a way CJP has fired the imagination of students across India. A party that took people by surprise was initially dismissed as social media sensation or a toolkit sponsored from abroad. The protest that rocked Delhi on Monday too became a casualty of debate laced in the language of law and order versus dissent versus mobocracy versus democracy. The value of the story is not what it does that day, but what impact it creates in the course of time. CJP has been able to work education as an issue that was confined to student politics. CJP has taken the government by surprise. It has also taken opposition by surprise. The pundits thought that IAC was the sole exception. CJP might not acquire wings like them, but it has put the government on mat. The language of anti-social or proxies is not cutting much ice at large. But what it does not mean that government's vote base has been affected. CJP is still a story in making. CJP has got a face in Sonam Wanchuk, but the question is, can it go beyond him like AAP did with Anna Hazare, or will it disappear in a couple of months? But some quick points as per the survey that has been done, which is courtesy vote by of Amitabh Tiwari. 87% of people know about the party, 29.9% rate CJP leadership is great, only 38% would like to vote for it, and 65.9% of the SC community is aware about it. Other point to be noted is 41.4% believe that it will impact NDA. 60% of ST voters believe that BJP will be impacted. Only 36% of urban voters feel BJP will be impacted. And CJP's main support is coming from 18 to 24 years old. It is seen as a right of center disruptor. And lastly, upper caste Hindus are opposed to this party. They are likely to vote against them in a big way. Muslim, ST, SCs are in support. Congress vote is unaffected as per the poll, and a lot of people undecided on CJP because CJP's story is still being written. Now let me open the conversation. I'm joined by Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst and the man responsible for this entire data. Sunita Aaron, senior journalist, KV Prasad, senior journalist, and Brijesh Pandey, my input editor in studio. Let me straight away go to Amitabh. Amitabh, 87% know about it, 38% likely to vote for it. But what really caught my eye is that SC, STs are pretty much aware about it. But if you look at the performance of BJP post 2014, they have done pretty well in SC, ST constituencies. So how do you reconcile both of them?
I think we need to understand the context of the CJP. And that is primarily arising from the fact that the Neet paper leak is merely a trigger. It is arising from the fact that the voice of the youth is unheard or in this entire political system. In the first Lok Sabha, we had 30% of MPs in the age group of 18 to 40. In 2024, that number is 10%, whereas the population is 40%. The average age of cabinet is, I think, 57, 58. The average age of Congress Working Committee is 68. The average age of BJP Parliamentary Board is 67. The average age of CPM Politburo is 68 to 70. Most of the people who are leading the country are grandfathers or grandmothers. That is where the crux of the problem lies, because the voice of the youth is not represented by any political party, be it opposition or the government. I think that is why the Cockroach Janata Party has caught the
But you
imagination
still
of
say in the survey it's a story in making.
it is a story in making because it is just one and a half months old phenomenon, correct? But I think primarily the genesis is lower representation in all the political parties, and the fact that most of the universities today, in most of the universities, elections are not being held
Okay.
or are in a limbo, correct? So all of this is giving voice to this party who is seen as at least speaking their language. So if, as you mentioned, 18 to 24-year-old is the
Yes.
highest category supporter, understandably, but how many 18 to 24-year-old leaders are there in India? How many 18 to 40-year-old leaders are there in India of substance, correct? So So I think that's what it is, and we have to wait and see how this pans out. May not necessarily be a political party in the making or impact electoral results, because if you see one of the questions wherein we ask whether there is a space for a new or a new party based on youth, I mean the answer is mixed, correct? Because people also want the existing political system or the parties to give more voice and more representation to the youth.
Okay. Brijesh, this data is pretty full, it's a fulsome data. But I would like to keep to couple of points. This data also says that upper caste Hindus are very dismissive of the Cockroach Janata Party. But Cockroach Janata Party in itself is a very city-based phenomenon.
Well, I would say that, honestly speaking, I don't know how, we have arrived at this conclusion that upper caste Hindus are against Cockroach Janata Party. But, if you look at if you go by penetration wise, I mean, it was very clear that, that with the increase of internet, increase of social media as a platform to express your view and opinion, the fact of the matter that, the CJP got more than several millions of like instantly, pretty much decided that, yes, its name and what they want to do or what they are trying to do was accessed by many, and so the people know about it. Second is, if you ask me that, whether it is going to create a big difference to the NDA, I think it will be too early to say anything to that effect. What I would say is that, it's a work in progress. I completely agree with Amitabh. It's a work in progress. It has been barely a month. We don't know whether, they will be able to develop something like Aam Aadmi Party or BJP, when you have a dedicated cadre who's working for you. But one thing is there, that, what happened before Friday and what happened after Friday, or rather, early Saturday morning, when Sonam Wangchuk was forcibly removed from the protest site and taken to Safdarjung Hospital, was a big shift. There was a huge shift in anger. There was a big shift in number of people who were going there to attend this protest. And I think, the government was completely unaware of the kind of footfall it would get as far as this protest march to Parliament was concerned.
Okay. Sunita, there are multiple things, but, I'll confine myself to, the data which I have in front of me. The data also says one more thing, and I want you on that. It is being seen as a disruptor of the right-wing ecosystem. But if I may say that, do we really have disruptors of the right-wing ecosystem when it itself is the center of the Indian politics?
Kartike, I think it's too early. It's premature to make any such observations, I personally feel, because right now emotions are very high. And I personally feel that it cuts through caste communities, gender, age. It's an issue where parents are concerned, where students are concerned, children are concerned. So everybody is agitated. They're frustrated because the leadership has kept quiet. They have not come out openly. They could have had a dialogue. And it's an issue based. It's not something, if supposing the issue, although it's very difficult examination and leaks to set it right in one go, but even if they address it, I don't think so. All these guys they are not going to be catalyst of change. Youth, one, the urban youth has to vote first. They hardly vote. And in rural areas, Sanatan still prevails. So I think right now everybody is concerned about what has happened, the way they have been bashed up. I think the bigger issue is that the way people, whoever they were in plain clothes and they were bashing up students, and they were not cops. So I think that is a very, very big issue, because it's a serious thing. But I don't think, I think for some time, let's watch what happens. Modi has already told the NDA allies to talk to students and explain them the opposition game. So they're
Okay.
vulnerable.
Okay. Mr. Prasad, do you think that CJP has the capacity to tap into something which update the volunteer-based system? Because, very few parties take immense time to build cadres. Only left and the right has been able to do it. Congress in past 20 years has been unable to build cadres. It's not possible. So the other successful system which was visible in last 20 years was a volunteer-based system when Aam Aadmi Party came. So do you think for any new political party, do you think volunteer-based system is sustainable, suitable? Is that where you feel the CGP can go?
Well, Kartika, on the first go, I have a different characterization. I don't
Okay.
see CJP as a political party, number one.
Okay.
Primarily, they themselves have not declared any political ambition. By their very act, they have been saying they are on a particular viewpoint. The fact that on education, reforms, everything else, they feel their voice has not been heard by the leadership across political lines. While the government of the day has to be taking primary responsibility, please remember they have kept that very clear that it is not addressed to one particular political party. That's my interpretation. Maybe others may have a different viewpoint. I think that is why you see increasingly political leadership across other parties other than the BJP are willy-nilly now trying to find a space in that by extending some kind of a assistance and some words of comfort. Uh, that also stems from one of the issues that I feel political leadership in the country has not really allowed student leadership to develop. It has either become highly politicized, and also the kind of elements that have crept into the student leadership has, the feeder system that used to operate in this country, where you get political leadership up the line. I mean, when we were in college, we had Lalit Makan as a student leader, Arun Jaitley as a student leader, or Goel as there are many others who went on to assume political leadership. This is Delhi. Outside of Delhi, you have many such things. I think that feeder system has more or less been again very tightly controlled. That is probably one of the interpretation. Uh, so as I said, I don't see it as a political party, but yes, this what they showed yesterday has made many of people revise their opinion that this is more than cyber warriors and more than keyboard warriors. So that thing they demonstrated, yes, on Monday, that they're flesh and blood people who came out with a cause, and their determination was shown when they almost reached Vijay Chowk. So you can, that shows the kind of with which we went in, Karthike.